The Meg is Jaws on steroids. No, it's not. What's up, everyone? It's Chris here from MTR Network, and I'm back with another movie review. This time I am reviewing The Meg.
Shut up, Meg.
The Meg, this is the movie about the big giant megalodon shark that is starring Jason Statham, the Chinese star Li Bingbing, Rainn Wilson, and honestly, I could look up the rest of the cast, but I really honestly don't care about the rest of the cast. So the quote that I've read before this review started is basically from Rainn Wilson, and I get it. Like, every shark film ever created is basically Jaws on steroids, but it's not really that. I mean, it's like Jaws is not. What makes Jaws a good film is that you don't really see the shark, and it's about the suspense, right? It's about the anticipation. You hear that, you know, that music, and you know, it's really, it's a drama, but it's also a legit horror film. Like, The Meg is really more of your typical action film. I mean, it's just normal, like your normal action film, and it's got Jason Statham in it. It's weird because Jason Statham actually isn't using his karate skills and actually beating anybody up, although he does kind of sort of fight a shark, a giant 27-foot shark, hand-to-hand combat. And I know that sounds like amazing to some people, and it kind of is, but it's just, this is, to me, is not less of a horror film and more of an action film. I mean, it does have some jump scare horror beats to it, but it's not really a horror film. It's not really in the same veins of a Jaws. I mean, if you were going to compare it to anything, if you had to compare it to a Jaws film, it's not Jaws 1, it's like Jaws 2, if that. And so there's a couple things about this film before I go into like quality of the film. One, I think this film is part of a trend that you're seeing in Hollywood films and American films in trying to tap into, and I think this is a smart thing, tap into the Chinese box office market. You kind of saw this, you see this all the time with Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, and his movies, and how they don't really do that well domestically. One could even say they kind of flop domestically, but they're really aimed for how big of a star he is overseas in China. I think this is The Meg. I'm really interested in seeing what The Meg does at the Chinese box office, because this is a clear attempt to tap into that market. First, you have Li Bingbing, who is, you know, a big star over in China, and she's basically co-starring in this film with Jason Statham, almost kind of like this is a weird thing they do with love interest with some of these characters, where it kind of reminds me of Pacific Rim, where you have your two, there's obviously chemistry and sexual tension between them, and they like each other, but they don't really do anything physical, whether it's hold hands, kiss, or even hug. It's that weird kind of thing, the same thing that he would with Jason Statham. The entire film kind of stars, is kind of takes place in the, like, basically the South China Sea. You go to the locations are basically China, Thailand, like it's. And so a lot of the extras are either, you know, Chinese extras, or they have some folks from Thailand, or like even when you go to like a popular beach, it's not like a lot of white people, which is, I think, it's a different trend for American films to kind of do that with a big blockbuster that's being released in IMAX. And I think that's a positive thing. I think we should see that. And when this is also coming off of the heels of Crazy Rich Asians, which is coming out soon, I mean, kind of it's about time that Hollywood started, you know, trying to market to, you know, non-white people in Hollywood. And so I think that's a good thing. I mean, I think for what this film is, and like I said, I'm really, really interested in seeing how it does overseas and if it pays off, because I don't think this film will do that great here in the United States, just because, like, who gives a fuck about another shark film? You know, we don't really care at this point. But I do think overseas this film will do really well, because so this is a kind of hard film to review because it's not a bad. Okay, I was gonna say it's not a bad film, but it's not a good film either. It's your typical popcorn action film flick. Like I went in, and when I was asked when I came out of the film what I thought of the film, was like it's basically what I expected. Cheesy dialogue, obvious plot, no real surprises, and your typical we gotta stop this giant creature before it eats up all the people. Like it's your typical film you've seen a million times. Now, to be fair, this film does do a few things that kind of go against some of those tropes every now and then. And it does look great. I saw it in IMAX. I don't know if it's worth IMAX money. And I was actually kind of shocked that they're actually doing this giant IMAX push for it. And I don't know if it's worth that. But, I mean, when the Meg is on screen, it's great. Like the action scenes are intense. Like this film can get very, really intense when it's focusing on that aspect of this film. Yeah, those scenes can be ridiculous. Yeah, they're over the top. Like there's weird things that happen that just drive me crazy with this film. Like, the script is not good. Like people would just fall in the water for no reason. And I don't mean like the extras. I mean like people that are like on this deep sea research thing going after this shark. They just fall into the water for the dumbest reasons and just do really, really dumb things, which again can't hit a film too much for, because you wouldn't have films like this if people were smart. Jason Statham's character is also a weird one, in which he's basically a rescue diver who, again, just typical beats, encountered the Meg when he was on a rescue mission. Nobody believed him, and he then this like 5 or 6 years later, this research facility is coming up, and they discover the Meg. His ex-wife gets trapped down here with the creature, so he gets pulled back in after saying he'll never dive again. It's just like, it's the typical thing. What I did find funny is, and you see that in the trailer where he's like, it's a megalodon, and he's not a shark expert. So the fact that he knew what it was doesn't make any fucking sense. But like, again, it doesn't really matter. Meg, 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 Meg. Meg. And that's based, like I said, this film is just, I mean, it's a by the numbers summer blockbuster monster film. Like, it doesn't do anything that spectacular. I'm hard. To me, if I give it a number, I would say it's maybe a 6 out of 10, maybe a 6. I'll give it a 6.5 out of 10. I mean, it's not completely horrible. It is entertaining. Paige Kennedy plays DJ, and he's pretty funny. Sophia Kai, I hope I'm saying her name right. She's the young girl. She's Su Yin's little girl, plays Mei Ying. And she's adorable. She's an adorable little 8-year-old. She's great on screen. Like, it has pieces to it. But again, it's also just kind of stupid at the same time. And so it's exactly what you would expect from this kind of film. What I do find interesting, Ruby Rose is in this film, and obviously people probably know she's been cast as Batwoman in the Arrowverse. And I'll just say, I'll probably bring some more when we do our mailbag episode. I'm not really opposed to her. I know a lot of people are saying, oh, she can't really act. And some people are like, it's a perfect, like, physical casting. Here's my thing. Just in this film, just like the other films I've seen her in, like John Wick, I think she's in one of the XXX films. It's like, she's not really given anything to do. She's not, like, given, like, and so it's really hard for me to gauge, if she's going to be good in the acting role side, because, like, I don't hate her when she's in a film, but also she's never really, like, her whole entire, like, character arc is basically to be the person that sits back there and smirks and flips her hair with her hand, runs her hand through her hands through her hair so you can see her tattoos, and she says a couple things here and there, and that's basically it. It seems like every director that's ever had her in a film makes her do that, and so it's basically like, oh, you're pretty to look at, so that's what we're going to have you do. And like I said, I think that she can probably do more, but she's never given more to do. And her character in this film is kind of like not given a whole lot more to do either. It's not that distracting, honestly, just because it's like the acting in this film isn't what you're really going after for. Like I said, it's by the numbers. It's exactly what you expected. I'm giving it a 6.5 out of 5. I mean, a 6.5 out of 10, not out of 5, definitely out of 5. 6.5 out of 10. I would say that if you were interested in seeing this film to begin with, then you're gonna want to go see this film because it's made for you. If you had no interest in seeing this film, then stay home and go watch something else. I mean, it's really that simple. I mean, it's exactly what you think. If you looked at the trailer and said that's ridiculous, I'm never gonna see that, then stay home. If you saw the trailer was like, that looks like it's going to be fun, go see it. It's going to be fun, stupid. The action scenes, again, when the Meg is on screen, it can be terrifying. And I think, if I will say there's one other than just the typical things of, terrible dialogue and stupidity, the one thing that I think as a film, this thing that it really hurts it, and it goes back to, Rainn Wilson, it's Jaws on steroids. The film doesn't know what it wants to be. It doesn't know if it wants to be serious or if it wants to be a comedy almost. Like it tries to flip between these two things. Like sometimes people die and it's supposed to be a really serious thing, but then there's other times when it's almost like cartoonishly bad, like and just everything's like a cartoon. And it's just hard to flip between those two things. Like you don't really know, if you're supposed to like where you're supposed to be at it. The tone is all off in this film. Honestly, I think if they had gone the route of like Piranha 3D, that would have been more, because that is supposed to be over the top and ridiculous all the way through. And if they did that with this film, I think it would have worked. But it's just, I like Jason Statham, but like brooding in every single scene, like he might as well be like underwater Batman. It's just everything's just brooding and just that dark voice of blah 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 blah. It's fucking stupid. So, yeah, that's the Meg. Again, it's not a surprise. I almost didn't do this review. I almost just wrote a review that said, it is what you thought it was going to be. It's like, the fuck? It's the Meg, Were you really thinking this would be a smashingly good movie? No, it was never going to be that. So, but again, keep an eye on that Chinese box office. I'll be really interested in seeing if this pays off there. And I think it kind of will. So, anyway, folks, that is my review for the Meg. Make sure to subscribe to this channel, MTR Network, and also check out the rest of our reviews, our audio reviews. We'll have a bunch coming out. I know we have Crazy Rich Asians, which will probably, I might end up putting this on this channel, but it might just be an audio review. So make sure you subscribe to Movie Trailer Reviews Podcast on iTunes, just a radio, Google Play Music. So again, folks, until next time, we're out of here. Peace.